The famous Brené Brown once said, "To the brave and broken-hearted, who have taught us how to rise after we fall, your courage is contagious." On its new season, Unfinished Real Life Conversations presents its first series, where we will share stories of women who braved the challenges of life, women who overcame after countless hurdles. In celebration of women empowerment this March, here is hashtag Women of Power.
Sa lahat, thank you for listening sa buong season 1 ng ating podcast, Unfinished Real Life Conversations. So we have another season and we have a new series. And in celebration of Women's Month, we have the hashtag Women of Power series where we will be sharing stories of powerful and inspiring women. So for our first episode, sabi niya hindi daw siya deserving pero hindi, sakto siya talaga yung pang episode 1 natin. Sabi ko sa kanya, I'm very firm about that. For our first episode, we will interview a lady who's really close to my heart and I look up to her. Kahit di na kami working together, I won't forget her because she's one of the people who inspired me to become better. So, enough with all the introduction. Because I will allow her to introduce herself naman. Let us all welcome in Unfinished Real Life Conversations, Kaye Macaisa Peña. Hi, Miss Kaye.
Hi, Rhea. Hello, good afternoon. Hello to the listeners. Rhea, thank you for inviting me here. Um, Very heartwarming what you said about um, maybe the friendship that we have formed over the years. For me, that is really important. And I really look forward to having this unfinished conversation with you. I think it's been months since we had a talk talaga. I know we chat every now and then, but it's different to have this kind of conversation. So really looking forward to this series. And thank you again for inviting me. I hope that I can share something valuable and maybe something that people who are listening will be inspired by them. So thank you for having me here. So as you mentioned, I'm Kaye Macaisa Peña. I'm 36 years old. I recently got married. I think around 4 or 5 months ago na pala. I can't remember. But yeah, recently got married. So it's quite an interesting season in my life, I would say. So I'm a partner at SGV and Company where I've been working in for the past 15, close to 16 years by now. I'm I love dogs and cats. So recently we adopted two stray cats na nagsistay at the back street ng lobby namin. So we adopted two cats and those two cats are now really taking up so much space, not only in my heart but also in our condo. So much that parang almost half of the condo belongs to them. So yun. And I also have dogs, so four dogs to be exact. So meron akong six fur babies. And hopefully, no, someday we'll be blessed with a baby, a human baby this time soon. So what else ba? I graduated from UST. I'm a CPA, although the work that I do now is not really related to accountancy anymore. But what I can say is that I really enjoy what I'm doing. I find that my work, as well as my personal, I would say, interests, such as nga, taking care of pets, taking care of people that I love, also my friends, have been making my life really full and happy, I would say. So that's maybe the long and short of who I am at the moment.
Thank you,
Thank
Miss
you.
Kaye. So, sa mga hindi nakakaalam, most people or those who are working in SGV call Miss Kaye KSM because that's her initial sa firm. So, yun lang. It's KSM
Oo
or
nga.
Miss Kaye.
Yun pala. That's I'm commonly known as KSM ngayon.
Oo. So, ayun, you
Yes.
you told us earlier about your fur babies. Pero how we
Yes.
would like to know your life being a baby or a kid naman? What's your childhood like? Are you the
Ah,
girly na bata or the boyish type or the bookish? Anong klaseng bata si Kay?
ah, nakakatakot yung question. No, just kidding. Well, when I was younger, I can say that. So sorry. One quirk about me, I can speed read. So I can finish a book talaga in one sitting. Pero syempre depende on how long it is and how interesting it is. But I think it's because when I was younger, I think as early as 4 or 5 years old, I'm already reading books na. And I think by the time I'm grade 1 or grade 2, my mom and my sister told me before na I used to read a lot of biology books. So I think when I was younger, I really liked science at that time. So very interested ako in biology and also yung anatomy, I think that's what I frequently read at the time. So you can say that growing up, I'm a bit nerdy in a way. So siguro yung mga grade 1 to grade 6, while I'm not really like top of the class, I would say na naksiyabang, no? I can say na I think I belong to maybe top 10, top 20 na
Humble naman 'to.
students in a batch. So, syempre, humble lang tayo. Ganun. No, but I think nerdy because I really like to read. So, when I was younger, I really spent a lot of time reading in my free time. But I also love to play sa streets. So, batang kalye ako of some sorts back then. So, we play football and it even came to a point na parang when I kicked yung ball, it broke yung window nung kapitbahay namin. So, that was the end of my childhood career as a football player. Kasi nga, napagalitan ako and all. But yeah, growing up, I grew up kasi na really close to my brothers and sisters. And also sa cousins at the time in Batangas. So it was a really fun childhood. I can say that we didn't have, and parang I did not know na at the time na parang we didn't have enough pala. But because it was, I would say, full of love and playtime, kumbaga, it was a really happy childhood for me. Na parang I didn't notice that maybe we didn't have enough or we didn't have too much at that time. Na hindi ko na-realize way when I was younger kasi I've always seen like my brothers, my sister were always happy. My mom and my dad, parang they take care of us. So, ano siya, parang I would say, parang, um, parang it somehow helped me become who I am at the moment. Na parang because of yung joys um, or happiness that I've experienced when I was younger, parang that helped me view things in a different light when I grew up naman. So, yun. So, that was me when I was young.
Yeah, alam mo miski naisip ko din na baka nga dahil kasi one thing I like about you is na-mention ko kanina 'di ba before the interview. Ano ka private and in a way content. Di ko alam kung gaano ka content ha, pero I see you as a content person I'm not sure pero ah sige
Mm.
mag-contest na lang yung mga makakarinig if that's not true pero that's what I believe. Pero yun lang yung
Oo.
ano ko sa'yo.
Para I-realize kasi na parang the simple things in life really make us happy. Where we don't need much in life. Parang yun. So parang I think it's really more of the experiences, it's really the memories and the moments that you get to spend with people that are important to you that make your life kumbaga fulfilled. And
True.
I don't think na parang I could ask for anything more. Of course, there are a lot of other things that I would want to have, pero do I need them? Parang maybe not really. So yun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nabanggit mo kanina about being a football player nung bata pero ano na yon tapos na yung part na yon and also you love
Oo,
science.
sayang.
Ayan.
Short-lived.
Oo, you love science. Pero if that's the case, I'm wondering, paano ka napunta sa growing up? Is it really your dream to be an accountant? Or, kasi science
Ah,
yung ano mo before eh. So, paano siya nangyari?
oo. I would say I was greatly influenced by my best friend at the time, nung high school pala rather. So my best friend who, well, officially naging mag-best friend lang kami fourth year kasi fourth year high school lang naman kami naging mag-seatmates. Pero up until now, we're still really close friends. I was her maid of honor during her wedding. Ako yung nag-drive ng bridal car and all. So Gano'n kami ka-close. But when we were in high school kasi, she parang she wants to become a lawyer. And while we were talking about anong career, what course do we want to take after high school, I was really thinking whether I would take up something that's around maybe medical technology or something related to becoming a doctor. Kasi that's what I wanted to become kahit nung bata pa lang eh. Parang cliche, no? Kasi parang feeling ko pag bata, di ba sa mga Little Miss Philippines, like I wanted to be a doctor. So feeling ko ganun siya. Um, but then when my best friend and I started talking, I realized, yeah, it kind of makes sense. So parang, I think we would become good lawyers. Parang ganun, parang we can become great lawyers together. Kasi nga, parang best friend eh. And when we were talking to our guidance counselor at the time, she said na parang you have options. Na option mo is, one, you take up maybe communication arts kasi that would help you become more articulate. And then the second is accountancy because accountancy has tax na subjects. So that will somehow cover yung ibang subjects in law, thus making it easier for me to take up yung law as a postgrad na course kumbaga or parang career eventually. So and then I was thinking then na if com arts, I feel like there are a number or a huge number of people who are already enrolling in that course. So parang I feel like it's not too challenging for me. Yabang eh, no? Parang I feel din kasi na I'm
Achiever
not
ka
really
talaga.
no, not really. Kasi para at the time, I'm thinking lang, hindi naman talaga ako arts. Because I
Sabagay.
had a lot of insecurities, I would say, back then. And at the time, parang I feel na I'm not really good at speaking. I'm not really good at, parang I'm not qualified to be seen on any form of media. Kasi parang feeling ko, I'm not really that pretty. Or ano, kasi normally pag arts, dyan yung mga sobrang, alam mo na, di ba? Yung mga, alam mo, sila yung mga sikat or mga popular kids back in high school. So I said, oh, maybe not art. So I think accountancy would be a good pre-law na course. And because I think naman that it's really more of logic and not really like hardcore math, maybe I can work with or I can deal with that. And parang if the guidance counselor also told me na, well, if you don't want to take up law, there are a number of other opportunities pa that you can go after. So sabi ko, okay, yeah, I think, sige, I'll take up na lang yung, or I'll put accountancy as my first choice. And then second choice would be com arts. And then third is biology, BS biology at that time. So because I studied in UST high school, you need to para at least get an average na grade ng fourth year ng 85 so that you don't have to take the entrance exam. So parang as long as you get a minimum grade na 85 average, parang you can qualify for any course that you want except for yung quota subjects like accountancy. So because I wanted to really pursue it, so I said, okay, sige, I'll just take the entrance exam so that I can qualify and then at least secure yung spot kasi parang they only take around 300 students yata every year. So yun, buti na lang by the grace of God, pumasa naman ako and I think na-meet ko yung quota grade for accountancy. So hindi naman ako na waitlist at the time. And true enough, while I was maybe studying na, I realized na parang, oh, this is not bad. I actually like accountancy. But there would be times that I get really frustrated because I don't seem to get it. So may times that I throw my books or reviewers kasi sobrang frustrated na ako with myself because I can't seem to grasp what I should be doing or parang I can't understand what the problem is about and I cannot solve it. So yun. So kaya medyo napunta tayo sa ganung route because of a change in I would say parang opportunity that I wanted to pursue after high school, which is really law. So yun. Haba ng sagot ko, no?
Ang
I'm sorry.
Hindi, okay lang. Ang interesting niyan, Miss Kay, kasi hindi ko, eto ha, honestly, may cheat sheet ako dito. My
Mm.
next question is about insecurities. Kasi you mentioned na you
Mm.
had insecurities before. And ang, well, cool siya for me, isipin. Kasi your insecurities led you on becoming an accountant. Kasi, di ba? Di ba? So wow, galing lang. Pero yun nga, you mentioned earlier about your insecurities and all. high schooler ka nun eh. So yan, puberty days
Mm, 'di
and all.
ba?
So
You have
ano,
parang you don't like yourself, 'di ba, when you're younger.
do you
Anyway,
still have those insecurities until now, or may
of
nagbago ba, or bigger
course.
insecurities ba siya?
Um, I think in a way, maybe it's wrong kasi parang the topic now is women empowerment. And when you talk about that, parang I feel, and this is again my personal take on the word, parang people would think na when you're empowered, you feel like you can, parang I don't see any vulnerability, any
Mhm.
insecurity on your
Mhm.
part. But I realized kasi na, and maybe in general, not just for women, what is important is for us to acknowledge that we will always have these insecurities. We will always have these kinds of, kumbaga, weakness, no, in our minds na parang in a way we're really parang not invalidating what we have achieved or how far we've come, no. But sometimes we feel like we are still inadequate, and especially now that I am a partner in probably one of the biggest and most prestigious firms in the Philippines. Um, I am, of course, parang I think na hypocritical of me to say that I don't have moments of insecurities. It could be both from a professional and personal aspect. So I still have them. There are days na I look at the mirror na sometimes, oh, I have this. Earlier when we were just chatting, di ba? Oh, I have a pimple here, I have a pimple there, and oh, look, I have circles under my eyes. And sometimes those insecurities take up so much space in my head, and that's all that I see. And I don't see the person talaga that I've become, um, and where I am now and who I am in general, no. So parang sometimes I'm still parang I still go through those kinds of moments. And then of course there would be insecurity around work na, oh, I'm not really doing that much, or I need to learn this, I need to learn that, I need to be very conversant because I get to talk to top C-suite people, no, in the Philippines and maybe even outside the Philippines. So I need to make myself sound smart, kanya. So I need to keep reading, I need to keep doing this, etc. That it drains so much energy and joy in my life. So yun. And but I think the most important thing for us to understand is that when we say empowerment, it's being able to recognize that there are these insecurities, there are these weaknesses that we will encounter, and look for opportunities for us to overcome them. It's always gonna be there. Para siyang ano eh, it's like para siyang something that will really suck the life out of you. But what is important is to find something else that is more meaningful in your life, or maybe something more meaningful outside of who you see, no, sa sarili mo. And it might be surrounding yourself with people who will always support you no matter what. So yun. So yeah, definitely. I think even if I grow older, those insecurities will still continue to haunt me. Pero I know for a fact that there would be, parang there's a lot in store pa, and there's a lot of, I would say, reasons for me to overcome and maybe overlook those insecurities and be the person who I am supposed to be. So yun. Medyo na ano ako dun, na-touch ako sa question na yun ng slight.
Alam mo, Miss
So
Kay,
it's a bit,
I agree with that kasi, di ba, ano eh, fan din kasi ako ni Brene Brown. So, hindi ko alam kung familiar ka sa kanya.
vulnerability.
Yeah, vulnerability and yung daring to lead, yan yung naghanap talaga ako ng mga podcast niya and
Mm,
articles, books about
she's
vulnerability.
amazing.
'Di ba?
Mm.
Sobra. As in, hindi kasi siya, I mean, hindi, yung vulnerability itself is, um, hindi siya normal sa mundo ngayon. Parang
Mm.
when you show your vulnerability, it's equivalent to weakness kasi, and it's scary to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Pero it's a good thing na na-raise mo siya because to be vulnerable is to be powerful at the same time.
Yes. And what I realized is the moment that you make yourself vulnerable, you parang you see who are the right kind of people that you should have in your life. because these are the people who would do whatever it takes to help you. Tried and tested. Like you would see na yung being vulnerable allows you to embrace other people to help you and to teach you that you're not alone in this. Na there are always a number of people out there who would parang love you, who would accept you, and who would help you regardless, no? Na with all of your flaws and vulnerabilities, they love you for who you are and not because of who you perceive yourself to be. So they love you flaws and all. So yun lang yung what I realized with being vulnerable. Parang yun yung upside eh. You show them that you are human. You show them that with them you become more you become a better person with them in your life. And I think at the same time you also give them the permission to be vulnerable then with you, so you kind of help each other. You help each other in those moments of weakness, and in a way para nagko-complement kumbaga, and it makes the relationship better or richer. So yeah, so I really love yung concept or topic of vulnerability. Yeah, so yun.
So
Getting
true.
really
'Di ba? And ayun,
oh, di ba? First three questions.
I'm really sure na, well, kasi based na aking pag-check ng statistics ng listeners ko, parang 70%, roughly 70% are female. So, are women.
Mm.
And I'm sure na pag napakinggan nila to, they would really be inspired and blessed with what we're talking about right now, since, well, yun nga, na feeling ko naman na nai-inspire na sila ngayon pa lang sa mga narinig
I
nila.
hope
Pero
so.
what can you tell these younger women? Kasi medyo tita na tayo eh, or patita
Oo. O,
na, mga
titang-tita
ganun.
talaga. Ako,
Sobrang
tita na
tita.
ako, admittedly. I'm like a real tita.
Tita level na mga salompas ba yan? Mga ganon, bomb.
Ay, oo. Tiger Balm, Salon
Oo.
Pass, essential oils,
Oo, mga
name it, I have it. Yung
humidifier.
mga
Yan yung
ganon.
yan yung mga tita
Yes,
level na natin.
humidifier.
Yes. So ngayon, let's
Yes.
parang what can you tell the younger women na well nakikinig ngayon? I've seen and met amazing women na well yung karamihan mga bata din na ang dami nilang potential and
Mm-hmm.
they're beautiful inside and out pero they really have a lot of doubt and yun nga insecurities. I think regardless of gender naman insecurities will be
Yeah.
there pero what can you tell them na kasi hindi na ma-maximize yung potential. So what can you tell
Mm-hmm.
them on how to deal with that stage of life?
Ha, very interesting. I'm trying to parang arrange yung thought in my mind on how to best respond to that question. And I think parang yun, well, I went through that, eh, 'di ba? We all went through that moments of insecurity. You feel that you feel maybe let's go physical first, 'di ba? Na parang you feel like you're ugly, you're not worthy of anything kasi you look like this or you look like that, and sometimes we get so hung up with that and we don't get to see who the real Rhea, who the real Kay is, or who the real woman is behind that physical na what we see, di ba? And I think, no, parang there's nothing wrong with going through those kinds of, I would say, seasons in your life or moments in your life. But what I've learned kasi, and maybe looking back, I was struggling with all of those insecurities at that time that I sometimes limited myself to opportunities that I think are too safe or too easy for me to parang to overcome or too easy for me to go through or to complete. And the problem with that is you shortchange yourself and you don't really get to learn from that eh. Kasi parang you know that I can do this, like I can solve maybe or I can read a book in a day. Parang that's so easy for me, that's so natural, and I'm not stretching myself any longer. Parang I keep myself parang hidden from a lot of things at the time because I thought na I wasn't worthy of anything or there's nothing else in store for me no in the future. And I think maybe na lang, no, maybe to put it in this way, that if I am going to talk to my self, siguro 13-year-old, 14, 15-year-old self ko, I would tell her that all of these are not important. What is important is how parang what's important is to ask yourself, no, what's really important to you, what sparks that joy, what sparks that passion in your heart, and whatever that is, go after it. So parang don't let yung insecurity stop you from pursuing what you really want to do in life. And sometimes we get too caught up in dealing with those moments of weakness. Now we tend to just look at it, and it takes front and center of everything that we do, no, and para we don't get to rise above that moment. And I think na if I'm going to talk to my younger self, I would tell her na you have so much potential in you. And the first person that you need to believe in yourself is you. Kasi at the end of the day, what you have in this world is yourself. And of course, well, of course, God will always be there. But for me, it's important that you have yourself in the corner supporting yourself. Parang ganun. If, for a lack of a better term,
Cheering for
you
you.
are, 'di ba? Parang you are your number one supporter. So if you're not there to support you, then who else is going to stand up for you and make things possible for you? 'Di ba? So I think that's one. But all of that, I think I was able to overcome kasi I had the kumbaga coaching or mentoring of women who are equally strong then, who told me na you are more than what you see in the mirror. There's just so much more in you, so much talent, so much love, so much joy in you that you need to bring out. And you shouldn't let anything else stop you from achieving or parang showing the world what you can do and what you can offer. So, yun yung second thing. And then the third thing, it's important kasi, and maybe for others who probably don't share the same religion or belief as me, but it was also important at that time, and maybe I should have done more of this when I was younger. But it's really important to spend time aligning yourself to what God wants you to do, no? I think we can do all of the planning, we can do all of the preparation that we want to do, but if it's not according to His will, it will not come into fruition, kumbaga, di ba? So, I was thinking nga na parang everything that happened in my life, no matter how good or bad it is, led me to where I am now. And I think it's because of my own might. It's not because of my own will, but it's really because God allowed those things to happen, and He led me to those opportunities. He led me to these. He led me to meet people who I've met before, to help me become who I am now. I don't think all of that is because of me, no. Sometimes we feel na pag when we say women empowerment, it's all about ourselves. It's all about putting ourselves out there. It's all about being courageous and all. But I think all of that will not make sense. All of that will not happen if not for the grace of God. So for me, that's really important na you really try to spend time to get to know what God wants you to do. And sometimes hindi naman parang and God does not operate in our own on our timeline, 'di ba? Parang because we
Totoo.
wanted things to happen today, then we force God, oh God, I want things to happen today. But it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you need to also learn how to wait and learn to be patient. Kasi I think in those moments wherein you feel like you're out in the wilderness, di ba? Na there's nothing na parang you see that's good for you. You see na parang it's all empty. It's like a barren land or place na how can I be successful in where I am right now when I'm totally hopeless. Like let's say I don't have anything to start with at the moment. I think that's the
Lalo
time
na
that really
nagkaroon ng
God will,
COVID,
yeah, yeah, this
'di ba?
moments. Parang you feel na, oh, parang all of my plans are parang put on hold, di ba? And sometimes ito yung moments that I really think God is trying to talk to you and to teach you something. And yun nga, para sometimes we need to stay still. We need to seek Him more rather than parang try to, parang, how do you call that? Parang try to fill in those void or fill in that void with something that is fleeting or maybe temporary in your life or maybe something that you will eventually regret. So siguro yun yung three things that I would tell myself. So first, do not be too hung up on the physical. Kasi when you're young, parang that's all you think about eh, na you look awkward and all kasi nga growing years, di ba? Lalo puberty and all, my gosh. So that's one. Second is to to really support yourself. Parang be your number one fan. Learn to love yourself. Kasi I realize, sa pag hindi mo sisimulang mahalin yung sarili mo, then who else is going to stand up for you? Who else is going to love you?
True,
Diba? And
true.
maybe this leads to yung time when maybe I was siguro mga starting yung career 21 to 28 na parang you find or you try to look for someone, you try to look for something that will love you back, and then you realize na parang, well, if you don't see yourself na worthy of love, then wala talaga. I mean, that's not going to be very fruitful then. And then yung third nga, it's really about seeking God, seeking God and what His will is for you and for your life. Kasi at the end of the day, I think um, everything that we have, and me personally, where I am right now is through His grace. I wouldn't be where I am right now if not for Him. So, yun, those are the three main things that I would really tell myself when I was younger, and maybe the younger listeners no of our podcast then. So, yun. I hope that helps in a way, gives guidance to them.
Sobra. Feeling ko naman talagang para kayo nagkaroon ng free webinar ni KSM na about self-love and
Mm.
inspiring stories. Pero we both agree with mentorship na banggit mo kanina yung mentors and yung group of people
Ah,
na
yes,
naging
oo.
support mo during the tough times. And 'di ba nga na-mention ko din na you're one of the people I look up to, and it's very important na we look up to people na talaga namang 'di ba nga na i-inspire tayo to become a better person, hindi hindi yung worst person. Pero who is
Oo.
your biggest inspiration or yung tao na nilo-look up mo talaga na alam mo yun, na alam mo na natulungan kang mag-improve and sinabi mo sa sarili mo na, "Ay, itong taong 'to, I will be like her. I will be like him." Parang gano'n.
Well, maybe ko professional, no? I would really say, number one, na nag-influence sa akin and someone that I really look up to. Alam mo to, kilala mo to si Wack. So, si Winston Chan. So, di ba?
Shout out
And
naman,
for
sana
the,
pakinggan niya 'to, 'di ba?
oo,
Sana lang.
sana, di ba? Sana, wish ko lang. We'll let him know. I'll send
Wag,
him a
baka
link when
naman.
it's up. Oo. No, but really, no, um, he really played a big part in my professional development and even in my career. So, you know din naman the story, but for the benefit of the listeners then, um, and I told you earlier, I had so much insecurities even no after college and going into the firm. One of my biggest insecurity is yung speaking up and maybe even presenting or talking to other people. So, hindi na siya apparent ngayon kasi parang ang daldal ko na. And I somewhat feel more comfortable now compared to when I was younger. But he was really, parang I would say, um, parang he was really the one who supported me all throughout my journey in the firm. Even if nung new staff pa lang ako. Kasi initially, I only wanted to stay in the firm for 6 months. So 6 months and imagine 15 years
Magpapa-regular ka
down the
lang
road, nandito
dapat.
pa rin ako. Oo, parang ganun lang. Well, kasi para at the time, I really want to pursue law. And then he talked me out of it for some reason. I'm not, para if I tell the story, it will take another hour. So I won't tell that. But the short story is, he really convinced me to stay on in the firm. And it's not because, kasi people would say, oh, pagka you rise up sa career mo in SGV, parang in a way you'll be financially rewarded, kumbaga. But I think it goes beyond that. He really helped me see what is important to me that I get to experience as part of yung professional journey ko. And that's not, let's say, beyond the financial, of course. It's really about being in a group or in an organization that allows me to continuously learn and to get to learn from people across different industries, across different parang background. And for me, yung ganong kind of environment allows me to thrive. So that's one thing that he taught me. That's why I stayed on in the firm. Because every day is a totally different day. Parang hindi, and alam mo yan, hindi siya boring, di ba? Parang every day minsan sobrang exciting na yung day that it gets too difficult. But I think overall, he really helped me parang find myself in a professional na environment. Na, oh, this is what I want and this is where I want to be. And one thing that he also taught me at the time is when you become a partner, and this is really my dream, no. This is, I would say, my life purpose then, at least while working in the firm, no. I really see na kasi he taught me that when you become a partner, it's no longer about yourself. It's really about the people that you have in your team and how you can help them develop and even become better than who you are. So para for me, if every day I am parang given the opportunity to actually coach, help, mentor younger professionals to become better than me, parang in a way, I'm parang that is already a parang fulfillment, kumbaga, from a professional standpoint in my life. So yun. So for me, very important influence in my life at the time is si Winston Chan. And I saw how he treated people, especially nung latter years na niya in the firm. Kasi nung before daw, medyo iba yung reputation that he had. Alam mo yan? Pero nung mga latter years na in the firm and when he's maybe 2 or 3 years na lang na he's gonna stay on before he retired, he really taught me a lot of things on how to deal with people, how to deal with clients, with your team, with your colleagues. Parang I think those are lessons that I will get to use no every day and for a long time pa in my career in the firm and maybe even outside the firm. So he's one. Second, I guess on a personal note, ang hirap eh. Kasi parang, oops, parang ang daming, there are a lot of, I've met a lot of inspiring people in my life naman, no. So it's really difficult to maybe just pinpoint one or two lang. Pero, eto ha, no BS. Not because I'm your guest here, but I really admire you, especially no, I think
I-edit
last
out
year
ko
mo
to,
na in the
Miss Kay.
firm. No, hindi
I-edit
pwede,
out.
no. No, and i-edit out mo na lang if may mga bagay ako sasabihin na hindi pwedeng sabihin, no. But what I really like is your, I would say, courage to admit na you're going through something that's difficult. For me, that takes a lot of guts. And yung courage then for you to really try to carve a different path for your life and to pursue opportunities, pursue your passion and pursue your dreams. For me, that's something that is inspiring. Kasi that's not always easy, di ba? It's not always easy to go after something that you really want to do.
Ano ba yan? Plano ko
And
ikaw yung paiyakin eh. Okay, sige.
I mean, no, I'm not, ano talaga ha, like, seriously, when you told me that, parang seeing you, and I told you this, di ba, sa mga chat messages dati, na parang, I'm, I'm really happy to see you a year or maybe two after you left the firm. And I'm seeing a totally different Rhea. And for me, I'm really happy with the journey that you've taken. It has inspired me na parang parang nothing is too tough or too difficult if you really put your mind and heart into it. So for me, that's one. So and like what I said, no, there are a lot of inspiring people naman that I've met na in the past years, no. But yun, that is one thing that really struck me. I remember we had a long conversation in my office at the time, and
Yan.
we were talking about our challenges, diba? I think it became too personal pa nga at some point. and I won't disclose some of the things that we discussed at the time. But I really admire the courage, no, to say that you are going through something in life, and yung courage to pursue your passion, your dreams, and whatever it is that you think will make your life more fulfilling, no. So that's one I would say. So thank you for the years of friendship that we've had, and thank you for those conversations na kahit na parang it starts out as naglolokohan tayo but it becomes serious. That really taught me a lot of things as well. But other than that, I think, of course, my mom is also an inspiration to me. Kasi while growing up, my dad kasi is an OFW. So most of the time, it was really just my mom who's taking care of us and looking after us. So I saw how she sometimes, no, single-handedly took care of her 5 kids.
Grabe, 5?
And oo, 5. And it's not easy because one thing that is also inspiring for me, and I'm really thankful for no, na when we were younger, parang we're like I mentioned earlier, no, we're not really well off naman. And if you have 5 kids that's going to school, no, all at the same time, but of course, yung finances will be very difficult. And there were times wherein her brothers, her sisters would tell her, why do you even have to send them to private school? Parang, lalo na for the women. And these girls will eventually get married and then they wouldn't take care of you. Parang ganun yung mindset, di ba? Before, na if you have kids, you would expect that your kids will take care of you after they graduate, ganyan. So, they're saying na if babae naman, magpapakasal lang yan. So, hindi mo mapapakinabangan whatever investment that you will make on their education. But my mom, at that time, so imagine mga 1990s, 1980s, as early as that time, she said that no, I will give my children the best education that I can afford, or that I will find talaga means to afford, because I really believe that I need to give them a good future, and that's through education. So talagang I saw how she took on jobs that are, I would say, parang um just to make ends meet. So there were times na, or she sold pa, parang she used to be an agent of yung Tupperware. O, di ba favorite natin ng mga nanay natin yan, na nagbebenta sila ng mga
'Pag nawala yung
sets ng
Tupperware, lagot ka.
Tupperware. Lagot ka, wag ka na lang umuwi, di ba? Kasi mapagalitan ka. No, but parang I remember at the time, my mom would really parang sell yung Tupperware. She has friends kasi back then, so she would sell all of those. Nagbenta din siya nung Corel, yung mga social na pinggan na babasagin and all. Um, Nag-ano din siya, yung nagtatahi. I don't know what's the right term, pero yung nagtatahi ng mga damit ng mga dolls, ganyan, just so that she can make ends meet during that time. So, I remember na parang she just walks from dun sa factory and then uwi siya. Parang her hands are, parang you would see na red yun, or parang may mga sugat-sugat siya because of what she's doing. And for me, parang at the time, hindi ko na-realize how difficult that was until now, na parang, oh my God, parang I can't imagine how they were able to send all of us to school and for us to finish yung college namin, na lahat kami private school, or at least parang UST, no? Parang most of us na magkakapatid UST rin nakatapos. So parang for me, for someone who did not even finish high school, parang that was quite an achievement. And for me, that is very inspiring kasi it and in a way, growing up with her, no, it taught me na you can achieve what you want to achieve as long as you really put your heart and kumbaga soul into it. And that's what I see na you're doing at the moment. That's why I also said that it's also inspiring to know you and to see you progress during this past few years. So yun. So recap, si Wak for the professional development, and then personal, it would be you and also my mom. But there are a number of other people who have inspired me all throughout these years. But I guess for the purposes of our topic, I guess those are the 3 people na I would say have been very inspiring.
Ito yung ano, last question na. So, sorry. Madami pa ako dapat itatanong pero
Ang daldal
ayaw
ko eh,
kitang
no?
hindi,
So
okay lang
sorry
pero
about
ayaw
that.
kitang message sa'kin si JC. Ano ba 'yan, matagal pa ba 'yan? Hindi, pero this is our last question. Ayun,
Hmm.
when you're gone, anong gusto mong legacy na maiwan mo na when they, thought about Kaye Macaisa Peña, ito 'yun, siya 'yun, ito siya.
Hmm. Wow. So tough. I think if ever I want to be remembered as someone who's um, kind and understanding, and also help them in a way achieve their potential. For me, that's important. And when I say yung kind and understanding and help them achieve their potential, it doesn't have to be about work lang. Eh. For me, parang whatever way I can, I hope that I am a positive influence. I am a positive force for not only for women but actually to anyone out there. That I in a way touched their lives, that made it somewhat better, kahit just a notch better than what it was. I hope yun yung what people will remember me by. I don't think kasi na parang it's about kasi parang in this world kasi parang sometimes they want to measure who you are based on your financial means or what you've acquired, ganyan. But I want people to remember me as to how I've made them feel. So I hope it's a positive feeling naman that I was able to live out there, no, in the world, and not yung negative. So that's why um whenever I interact with anyone, para as much as possible, I try to be the kindest version of myself, and I always try to understand people first before actually parang venting out or before I do something that I will regret. There's a lot of stories na medyo yung kamalditahan ko is nauuna than than being kind. But I think eventually, no, we are all a work in progress, sabi nga, no? And there are times, of course, you're not perfect, but I'm not saying na it's an excuse, but I think na I want to live by that. I want to be someone who is kind and understanding and creates a positive force, kumbaga, in the world that I'm living in at the moment. So kung yun lang, people will remember me by, I'll be happy, no, knowing that people see me that way and people think that I have contributed to their life and to make it better, however small that may be. So yun lang. Simple lang naman. Simple lang ang aking gustong legacy that I wanted to live when I pass away, no, or when I live this world na.
Thank you,
So
Miss
yun.
Kay. And feeling ko naman, ngayon pa lang, madami nang nai-inspire, including me, sa
I
yung
hope
ano.
so. Parang there's a lot that are parang there's a lot that we are going through every day, and I hope that you don't just find inspiration in others, but you also find inspiration in your own story din. Na parang yun nga,
Totoo.
looking back at where you are before and where you are now, I think that's inspiring enough din naman, di ba? So
True.
yun.
Tsaka yun nga, kaya nga, this podcast is entitled Unfinished kasi I'm not sure if you know Mandisa. She has this song Unfinished dahil nga we are all work in progress. We're all unfinished
Hmm.
pa. So
Parang
that's
every
where it came
day, di
from.
ba? Yeah, every day is an opportunity to turn things around or to make it better. So, yun.
Thank you, Miss Kay. Ang
Fight
dami
lang,
kong
fight.
grabe, ano to, hindi to pwedeng Zoom lang. Dapat may face-to-face version, pero,
Yun nga,
ah,
sayang, di ba? Kung meron, Diyos
ayun.
ko, feeling ko 3 oras tayo magchichikahan.
Kaya
Tapos
nga
30
eh,
minutes lang yung podcast.
yung So ayun, let's close this episode again. Thank you, KSM, for this wonderful first episode. Talagang bagay na first episode to ng ating series for this season. And ayun, more to come.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I really hope that I'm able to share something wise naman, or I'm able to share my wisdom and hopefully inspire others then to become more successful in whatever way or form that they see what success is.